Titanium dioxide has been in the food for a long, long time. So why there is a need to replace titanium dioxide?
Hey, Karen, thank you. First of all, thank you, IFT, for the opportunity, and thank you for all of you for being here. Yes, titanium dioxide has been a gold standard. Whitening power, whiteness, brightness, opacity, consistent coverage, right? So why do you want to replace titanium dioxide? There's a global growing potential health concern regarding titanium dioxide safety. This has several consequences, right? One of them, what I describe as a volatile regulatory situation. And by that, what I mean is if you look at Europe, in France, in Europe, titanium dioxide has been banned. A lot of countries are reassessing the safety of titanium dioxide. And in the US, there's a legislation in Texas regarding the use of titanium dioxide in food applications, right? That creates several issues for food manufacturers. There's another aspect, which is consumer preference and awareness. I'm sure many of you look at the labels, right? And look at the ingredients that you want to see in your food products. And unfortunately, titanium dioxide is not one of those ingredients a lot of people want to see in their products. And that creates pressure from consumers like yourselves and from consumer advocacy groups. As a result, the food manufacturers are reacting to that pressure. In 2015, Dunkin' Donuts actually took out titanium dioxide from their donut sugar. And more recently, in about 2024, Mars Incorporated removed titanium dioxide from their Skittle lines. So combination of all of these are making food manufacturers think twice about using titanium dioxide. And we believe that that trend will continue. And more food manufacturers will look to replace titanium dioxide.
So let's talk a little bit about VersaCal Bright now. And what is it and how does it solve the challenge?
So VersaCal Bright is calcium phosphate, developed by Innophos specifically to replace titanium dioxide. It delivers comparable performance to titanium dioxide. One of the key features of VersaCal Bright is in terms of its visual impact, right? So whitening effect, whiteness, brightness, opacity, consistent coverage. So VersaCal Bright delivers comparable performance to titanium dioxide in those physical properties. But it also has a really unique advantage. If I were to ask you right now, where would you find calcium and phosphorus readily available? What would you say? In your teeth and in your bones, right? So calcium and phosphorus are essential minerals. And VersaCal Bright is made up of calcium and phosphorus. So it makes it a nutrient, a very consumer-friendly profile ingredient. So that will hopefully help food manufacturers utilize VersaCal Bright not only for its physical properties, but also for its benefits in terms of being an essential mineral.
Thank you, Arhan. So from a regulatory status, right? VersaCal Bright in the US and in the rest of the world. What can you tell us about it?
So that question actually has a two-tier answer. First of all, if you think about calcium phosphate, it's been long used in food industry as a safe ingredient, right, for decades. So you can put calcium phosphate in any food products that you want, in any segment, in any categories. Now, on top of it, recently, the major development is FDA's approval of calcium phosphate as a color additive. So that makes VersaCal Bright now a really unique ingredient, major development as a color additive in food application on top of long history of safe usage.
So what does it mean for the food manufacturers, right, now that they have this option available?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sound biased, but it's a major development, right? It's a big deal because now food manufacturers have a safe and regulatory compliant ingredient, color additive, to replace titanium dioxide. So this way, you can replace titanium dioxide without compromising the quality of your products, and you can future-ready your food formulations to replace titanium dioxide when you need to.
So let's talk a little bit more about the FDA approval, right? And which categories were currently approved for use, and could they be expanded?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, that's a two-tier answer, right? One is, as an ingredient, has a long history. It's GRAS generally regarded as safe ingredient, and it's a multi-purpose ingredient. It's used as a nutrient, as a leavening acid, and so on and so forth, right? So that's general calcium phosphate usage. The most recent FDA approval as a color additive has 4 applications specifically. One is the ready-to-eat chicken. Second one, donut sugar, white candy melts, and sugar for coated candy. Those are the 4 applications FDA approved VersaCal Bright as a color additive.
Let's talk about performance of the VersaCal Bright, right? And in real-world applications, like the donut sugar or the white candy melt. What can you tell the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think about performance, right, there are a lot of elements to that performance question. One is, does it have the same visual impact, right? So the whitening effect, whiteness, brightness, opacity, color consistency. But it's not the only component that you look for, right? You look at the shelf life. Does the product look like day one and at the end of its shelf life? Does it affect taste, texture, or other sensory attributes or quality attributes? Does it process the same way? So we looked at all of these, and we found out that VersaCal Bright is actually a drop-in solution for titanium dioxide replacement.
So can you give us an example of a case study where VersaCal Bright successfully replaced titanium dioxide in a food application?
Yes, I mean, I can talk about one particular application that we did with as a customer project, which was donut sugar. Right? So, and what you want in a donut sugar is not only whitening power, but you also want consistent coverage of, let's say, your munchkins. There's another element that came up during those studies, which is the adhesion, right? So if you apply the donut sugar to donuts, you don't want your 50% of your sugar falling off the substrate. So what we found is that VersaCal Bright can replace titanium dioxide in terms of the whitening powder, consistent coverage, but also it has really good adhesion to the substrate, so you don't lose the donut sugar to your environment. So, and it did not affect quality attributes over shelf life. So it was a really good replacement for titanium dioxide, and it's a one-to-one replacement for titanium dioxide in donut sugar.
So if I were a manufacturing company that wants to replace the titanium dioxide, how much effort, how is it compatible with the equipment? I mean, how much work do I need to put to replace that titanium dioxide?
It's so easy, you won't believe it. But, you know, kidding aside, right? So you have to look at some of the physical properties, right? You're adding a different ingredient other than titanium dioxide. Does it change the viscosity of your solutions, right? So does it impact the pickup of your substrate? And so it's as easy as it sounds. It's a drop-in solution.
Now, any impact on the shelf life of the product?
In all our studies, you know, in those 4 applications, and we did extensive studies, we did not see any negative impact on the shelf life of the products.
So given the current environment where we live, right, about supply chain and uncertainties, you know, what about VersaCal Bright, you know, and any type of geopolitical risk about being able to, you know, procure the VersaCal Bright in the U.S.?
Well, if you're a U.S. manufacturer, you're in luck because it's manufactured right here in Chicago and there's ample capacity. So if you're looking for a titanium dioxide replacement, you shouldn't worry about the geopolitical supply chain issues with VersaCal Bright.
So when we started talking about replacing titanium dioxide, you were talking about clean label, right? And consumers looking for that clean label. how does the VersaCal Bright support any clean label claims? Sustainability?
So, I mean, I think the way to look at that is just going back to the example I gave, right? So this is essential minerals, basically calcium and phosphorus, and VersaCal Bright consists of calcium and phosphorus. So it's a consumer-friendly profile, and manufacturers can leverage that consumer-friendly profile to offer a clean label alternative to titanium dioxide.
Good. So from an Innophos standpoint now, right? What is next on clean label? What are we doing from an R&D standpoint on clean label and functional ingredients, on the innovation area?
I mean, clean label is here to stay, and more people are looking at labels, and I see that every day. And so we are trying to help our customers get ahead of the game. We've been working on several different clean label projects, right? So a few examples, we came up with an aluminum-free leavening acid. We came up with a shelf life extender for bread applications, ESL, extended shelf life technology, that replaces chemical acidulants. And we are working on clean label emulsifiers to replace chemical emulsifiers like Datem or SSL. So we are actively working on several clean label projects to help our customers replace those chemical ingredients.
Excellent. So I'm going to give you just very rapid to wrap up before we ask for any questions. So what is the biggest misconception about titanium dioxide?
That it cannot be replaced.
One word to describe VersaCal Bright.
A multifunctional.
And what excites you the most about this new launch?
I mean, if you're a food manufacturer, right, and you're looking to replace titanium dioxide, now you have an option that's safe, that's regulatory compliant, and that works. So I think that's quite exciting.
My last questions, consumer benefits, nutshell, where they are.
Well, it's, they have a clean label, consumer-friendly profile in a product that's essentially essential mineral. So I don't think it can get any better than that.
Very good. Thank you so much.